Hola a todos, hoy vamos a practicar los números en español. Hey everybody, today we're going to be practicing the numbers in Spanish. So we're going to first be learning what the numbers are after an opportunity to try to put these numbers together and practice them for yourself. And the last step, which is probably the most difficult, is actually processing the numbers when you hear them. So I have some exercises that are going to help you with that. So let's do this. Okay, so in this section, we're going to learn how each of these numbers sound. And I've actually selected these numbers for a very specific reason, and it's that these numbers are the most important numbers to learn, and by just learning 24 numbers, you are going to be able to count to 1,000,000, which is pretty awesome. So let's start here with the first number. I'm just going to go through each of these to 10. Most people have heard these numbers before, so we don't need to go over them in a lot of detail. So we've got cero, and you can repeat after I say it to practice saying it and then hear it again. So I'll say the number, you repeat it. Cero, cero, uno, uno, dos, dos, tres, tres, cuatro, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis, seis, siete, siete, ocho, ocho, nueve, nueve, 10. So those are the numbers from 0 to 10. And we've got 5 more numbers that are unique, which is 11 to 15. And they sound like this. Once, once, doce, doce, trece, trece, catorce, catorce, quince, quince. Okay, now these numbers here, I find a lot of people get super confused about the pronunciation, and honestly they're spelled a certain way, but what these numbers are saying are 10 and 6, 10 and 7, 10 and 8, 10 and 9. So here you can see there's diez, but there's a C instead of this Z up here in the word, okay? So we've got the diez, and then an E, which, hey, guess what, is the exact same sound as this, E, seis. Okay, so this is just written as one word, and they had to change this C to a Z because they don't really have Z's in the middle of words, and that's just how Spanish is. So instead of thinking about what this looks like and wow, that's a lot of vowels, just think about saying diez, which is like this one, y, which means and then whatever number, seis. Okay, and the same is true for 20. 21, for example, is like this, 21. Okay, and really what that's going to be saying is 21. Okay, except these two sounds kind of combine, the E and the Y, to make this one sound here. And that's just because they're very similar. The 20, kind of has a I, 21. We've got three vowels together, so we've got to kind of drop one there. So let's continue on here. We'll go through 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19. Okay, so you can see, you hear it like 17, 18, 19, without being so separated. 19. Okay, now here, 20, it's almost like you're saying vein, okay, with a B on the front. 20, 21, 22. Okay, it's 21 and 22. So here, we've got to move on to these other ones because these are also very important, and these are the sets of 10. So we've got 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 70, 80, 80, 90, 90, 100. Okay, so just to go over these really quickly again, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, and what's interesting is with 100, only 100, we have 100. But if it's 101, 114, 100 and whatever, we're definitely going to use this ciento. Okay, so 100 is the only situation where you'll see cien without the to on the end, and if we're adding another number, we need to have that, so ciento. Okay, so cien, ciento. And then here, we've got, these ones are grayed out because they're actually a very predictable pattern, and I don't really feel like you need to learn this, you just need to know the structure. So you can see here we've got dos cientos. Okay, so we've got dos here, okay, and then we've got ciento, and there's an S on the end because there's more than one 100. It's two hundreds instead of 100, okay? So it's 200s is literally what this one is saying. So it's said like this: 200, 300, 400. This one's a little bit strange, but really, really important. Anything in bold is a little bit more important because it's a high frequency number. This one is said like this: 500, 500. Okay, and that means 500. And then here we have 600. This one's a little bit different. It's 700. 700. Instead of it being 700, that's incorrect. Here you can see siete with an I, but here we have no I, so it's just 700. And then for this one, 800. This one for 900 is a little bit different as well. Instead of nueve, like we have here, we've got nov. 900. 900. And then for 1,000, it's 1000. If you have 10,000, 10,000. Okay, so you can see the patterns here in the numbers, and the only ones you really have to learn are the ones in these three columns, and then 500, 700, 900, and 1000. And after that, all the numbers repeat themselves again. Dos, dos, two, dos, ocho, ocho, 8. Now remember, try not to use your eyes for this activity. Just try to remember the number and think about it a little bit before looking for the answer. You can always pause the video to give yourself more time as well. Cuatro, cuatro, siete, siete, cero, cero, trece, trece, once, once, 19, 19, 12, 12, 30, 30, 60, 60, 40, 40, 80, 80, 60, 60, 100, 100, 500, 500, 800, 800, 1000, 1000, 700, 700, 900, 900. Okay, how did you do with that? If you were having a difficult time understanding this part of the exercise, I recommend stopping the video here and doing that exercise again until you start to be able to recall some of the numbers when you're hearing them. Or maybe starting from the beginning of the video to hear how these numbers are said. This takes a long time to develop comprehension with these numbers, so don't feel stupid for not understanding it. It is completely normal. If you are okay with this though and you want to continue, let's go ahead with some more complicated structures to really challenge your listening. 37 37. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of practice putting these numbers together so that you know exactly how to do it and to give you the opportunity to try to think about these numbers and use them and hopefully help you remember them a little bit better. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to type a number and I want you to think about what the number is. Of course, I've left these numbers here so that you can look at them while we do this exercise. So let's try this one. So what you're going to be thinking about is 20 y 3. Okay, 23 is how you say this one. Okay, now if we change a number like this, we're going to do the same thing. We go to the chart here, 40 y 3. 43. Now I'm going to let you put the next one together. You should have got 39. 39. Okay, let's try this one. Setenta y cuatro. 74. Sesenta y ocho. 68. Noventa y dos. 92. Okay. Now let's try some 3-digit numbers because we can still practice those 2-digit numbers while we're doing the 3-digit numbers. So we'll start with one just to practice the 100 area. Let's do this one. Okay, now in English we normally say 104. In Spanish they just say 104 in this case. 104. So what about if it's this number? 109. 109. Okay, so if we say this, how do you think that we say that number? 121. Okay, and if we change this like that, 141. 141. Okay, so let's try some different numbers. 357. 357. 471. 471. 580. 580. 689. 713. 713. 876. 876. 999. 999. So there we are. We practiced a few numbers there. If we do a couple in the higher digits, you're not really going to have to deal with these numbers too often, but just for practice, we'll do like this. 1250. 1250. And my year of birth, 1984. And it sounds really long and really fast when you say it normally, which is 1984. So we're going to work a little bit on some listening comprehension, because this is one of the most difficult things for people, is actually capturing the number when they hear it and processing it. So I'm going to start out really, really easy, just saying single numbers before I start combining them. So I will repeat the number twice, and I want you to write down the number or think about the number that I'm saying before I give you the answer. 6. 6. Y la respuesta es 6. 6. 2. 2. 2. 2. 8. 8. 8. Now remember, try not to use your eyes for this activity. Just try to remember the number and think about it a little bit before looking for the answer. You can always pause the video to give yourself more time as well. 4. 4. 7. 7. 0. 0. 13. 13. 14. 11, 11, 19, 19, 12, 12, 30, 30, 60, 60, 40, 40, 80, 80, 60, 60, 100, 100, 500, 500, 800, 800, 1000, 1000, 700, 700, 900, 900. Okay, how did you do with that? If you were having a difficult time understanding this part of the exercise, I recommend stopping the video here and doing that exercise again until you start to be able to recall some of the numbers when you're hearing them. Or maybe starting from the beginning of the video to hear how these numbers are said. This takes a long time to develop comprehension with these numbers, so don't feel stupid for not understanding it. It is completely normal. If you are okay with this though and you want to continue, let's go ahead with some more complicated structures to really challenge your listening. 57, 57, 22, 22, 98, 98, 140, 140, 250, 250, 560, 560, 60. 980. 980. 262. 262. 262. That one's a little bit trickier because we have three numbers that we're listening for. So I'm going to keep going ahead with a few of these numbers for practice. 535. 535. 535. 722. 722. 722. 397. 397. 397. 901. 901. 901. 100. 100. 443. 443. 443. 957. 957. 957. Now let's try with a phone number. Everybody says their phone number differently, but this one is my number. Okay, and how I say it is this is a group of 322, this is 183, and then 7547. And it is a mouthful to have to use and practice this when I'm refilling my phone or something like that. So this is how it goes. 322, 183, 75, 47. Okay. Now I want you to listen to me saying this without looking at the number. 322, 183, 75, 47. Now full speed, or a little bit faster anyway. 322, 183, 75, 47. And full speed, I'll give you some assistance here. 322, 183, 75, 47. And that's, a little bit slower than a Mexican might say it, but it's still pretty fast and difficult to comprehend. So I encourage you to try practicing your phone number. If your number is a little bit weird, like maybe it's like 107, 2023 or something like that, you probably want to do 107 instead of 107, because especially for your phone number, people have a difficult time knowing that there's a zero there, and it'll probably throw them off. So if your number has a lot of zeros in it, you might want to do that. But for this one here, 20, 23, it's the same thing. It's a little bit weird saying 20, 23. Like people are waiting for another number, like 29, maybe, but the zero is sort of silent, so you might want to do 20, 23 or 2023. Of course, saying the individual numbers is easier, but I really recommend trying to say it in groups if you can, and just try it out with people. If they understand you, great. If they don't understand you, maybe go to some individual numbers until you get the hang of it a little bit more. So in this case, I would say 322, 107, 2023. You can practice with random numbers of your own. I encourage you to write down probably 15 to 20 numbers. If you're having a hard time just saying the two-digit numbers, start by doing 15 or 20 random numbers that are 2 digits long and practice looking up how to say them. It's very, very easy. If you get stuck, you can use Google Translate as well. And if you type in 15, for example, select English here, and then you can go to the listening module and it's going to say 15.
15.
And that's it. That's what I recommend to practice your numbers. If you have a partner that's learning Spanish with you, you can have flashcards or something or a piece of paper and practice back and forth. One person is practicing saying the numbers, the other person is practicing trying to figure out what the other person is saying. Like I said, it takes a lot of time to develop a real comprehension when you hear the numbers. So just work at this little by little and don't stop practicing. Even with the other things that you're learning, it's really important to keep working on your numbers and trying to master them so that you can understand people when they give you prices, you can give your phone number, you can understand addresses and things like that. So that's it for this lesson.